Well, the stock market had quite a volatile year last year. So, how do you benefit from this on your tax return in 2025? Lisa Greene-Lewis, TurboTax expert and CPA, is here with us right now. So, while the trading year ended on December 31st, there are still some things that people need to be aware of as far as their trades go, their capital gains and losses go. So, what are some things people need to start thinking about?
The first thing you should think about is if you had any losses, you want to offset those losses against your gains. And then if you have a net loss, you can offset that against your ordinary income, like your W-2 income up to $3,000. And then if there's any left over from there, you can carry forward that loss. And then I also want to remind people, if you had any carry forward losses, make sure you carry them forward to your tax year 2025 so you don't miss out on a reduction in your taxes. One thing TurboTax does carry that forward if you've used TurboTax before, but if you have not, you need to look on your previous year's tax return and see if you had a carry forward loss.
Yeah, really important because you and I were talking earlier, people leave that money on the table and they forget about those. Like that is your loss
Yes.
to take. So go find it. Whether you use a TurboTax or you have the old tax return, just go look at it. That is really, really important. Okay, one of the big things last year, at least, was crypto. A lot more people dabbling in this. People need to be reminded that this is just like a stock. You pay tax on your gains, but maybe we should go over the crypto rules to begin with before we dive into what's new.
Yes. So like you said, selling crypto, it's just like selling a stock. So just like a stock, if you sell it and you've held on to it for over 1 year, you're going to pay capital gains at the lower long-term capital gains rates. They're lower in some cases for some people. And then if you sold your crypto in within a year or less, you're going to pay taxes at your ordinary tax rate, like when you do your taxes.
Right. So just because crypto feels amorphous to some people like me doesn't mean it is not a taxable transaction at bottom line, right? So
Right.
now,
And then
just
there's
to
all
make
kind
things
of other I mean, sometimes people get paid in crypto. And so in that case, it will show up on your W-2 or your 1099, and you will be taxed just like you are with your income. And then you'll have another transaction if you sell it, and then it'll be taxed as a capital gain.
right. So it's almost like a wage. I feel like you and I have done these crypto videos for years now, but then there's also, if you're a crypto miner, which again is we need a whole video on exactly what that means, but that then becomes almost like a self-employed gig for you,
Right, right. They
right?
get paid for mining the crypto. So that's the same thing. They would probably get paid on a 1099 in crypto. And so, like you said, they're self-employed. They would report that as self-employment income.
Right. So if you touch crypto in any shape or a form, know that you're going to owe some form of tax at some point. Now, you had mentioned that there's a new form. What's going on with that?
Yes, so there's a new requirement for brokers and crypto platforms, and they have to report your crypto sales on a Form 1099-DA. Now, for tax year 2025, they don't have to report your cost basis. They only have to report the sales. They will be required to report the cost basis information for tax year 2026, but not this year. So people need to make sure that they have their cost basis so they're not overpaying their taxes. That is one area TurboTax is focused on as well. So we flag for people if they're missing cost basis, and that's for crypto or even stocks as well. So we'll flag that for you so you're not overpaying your taxes. And then we will ask you if you want to find that information on a supplemental form. And then our AI extracts information from supplemental forms. So it will extract that cost basis information.
That's pretty amazing, actually. What if someone can't find their original cost basis? What do they do in that situation?
You can go back to like the history of, when you purchased that crypto or your stock and look at what it was trading for then. But first, I would just start with the broker and just any documents you have.
And old statements, absolutely, because tracking this stuff is really, really important. To Lisa, to your point, because if your cost basis is too low or you don't know it, you're paying way too much tax on your gain. So you want that cost basis there to decrease the amount of tax of capital gains. Hopefully, you're going to owe at the end of the day. The stuff gets really
Yes.
confusing. The great part, though, is that all this stuff can be imported, right? TurboTax imports brokerage statements and all that stuff. So it's not like you're inputting all these trades.
Yes, we can import up to 20,000 crypto transactions and up to 10,000 stock transactions. And then now, with our new capability with AI to look at supplemental forms and extract that information, it makes it, really seamless for people.
100%. Keep track of this stuff. Don't overpay because I know a lot of people dabbled in crypto last year and it did have a pretty good year. So there's probably gains to be had out there. Lisa Greene-Lewis, TurboTax expert, thank you for breaking this all down for us.
Thank you for having me.